to my channel. So today's video is a bit of a different one. If you guys have been following me on social media for the last few months, you'll know that I have taken a DNA test. So I was adopted from China when I was 10 months old, and yeah, I don't really know much about my history or anything, so I thought I would start this journey on discovering a bit more about my history, and I thought I'd take a DNA test. So I'm going to insert the clip of me taking my DNA test now. The company that I've chosen to use is 23andMe. A few people who I've researched have used it, and it's been quite a useful thing for them, and also it is very informative, so I've chosen to go with them for that reason. Also, I went with the one which is got health information about it as well, because you can choose from 2 different DNA kits. One is the DNA on itself, and one is the DNA with the health included. So I've gone for that one. It is a bit more expensive, but I wanted to do the full thing because I think it's just nicer to get a better picture. So this video may be a bit flustered, so I do apologise for that, because it is going to be literally, I've not seen any of the results now, so I'm going to film it while I am seeing the results firsthand. So yeah, obviously I wanted to record this because I have taken you guys on my adoption journey with me. So obviously you guys are very invested in my story as much as I am. So yeah, I'm going to insert the clip now of me taking the DNA test and a bit more about that process. It is the 19th of January. I wanted to do this video vlog style because I thought it'd be a little bit more chilled and a little bit more sit downy. So I have purchased a DNA kit. It's called 23andMe. It was about £150 because it's for the DNA, ancestry, and also like health report as well. So I'm gonna film this whole process with you guys. Yeah, I just thought it was kind of like the right time to like look at my DNA. Obviously I'm not too sure if anything will come up, but it'll be interesting to know anyways. I've been posting a few videos on TikTok which have like blown up, which is insane. So I'll leave them next so you guys can see the videos, and then I will come back to you. And okay, so this is the kit. It is a saliva kit, and all you basically do, so this is your instructions, and then this is the kit itself. So the instructions are, so you obviously have a funnel where you spit into the funnel, and then you've got a cap and a tube, and you've got to fill it to a certain line. This is just other instructions. So the main instructions is you need to either get the app or use the website, and then you need to register your kit. So that's a really easy thing to do. So in this little packet here, if I can open it one-handed, so you've got your bag that you put your final sample in, and then you've got the little kind of like tube itself. So this code here allows you to register the kit online, so that's what you do, and then it basically allows you to have like a portal where you can see all the results. So you're not allowed to eat or drink for 30 minutes, so that's what I've done so far. And then you need to fill to the line, which is a bit gross, but that's what you have to do. Close the funnel lid, and then screw the cap on and seal in the bag. And then all you have to do is put it into the post box, because it already has the shipping address on the back, so that's really easy. And then, you know, once your sample has been processed, it will give you all of the details. So yeah, like I said, I've been doing some videos on TikTok about my story and my adoption story, and they've literally just like blown up. So I thought, well, I think now's the right time to do a DNA test. So actually, a girl who has done the DNA test actually reached out to me and said that she met one of her cousins through it, which I think is so cool. So yeah, that definitely inspired me to do it a lot sooner than I would have done. I'm definitely not keeping my hopes up because I don't know what it's going to bring up. It might not bring anyone from my family up, but yeah, I think it'll be interesting to see anyway, and I will obviously film it and let you guys know the results. So yeah, now I'm going to go away and fill this tube up, and then put it in the box and send it off. So it's going to take a few weeks to process, so this will be probably maybe like 4 or 5 weeks in the past, and then kind of like present Asia will come onto the video and talk about the sample and the results. So yeah, I will see you in 5 or 6 weeks time. Okay, so once that process is done, you then basically, I'm going to put lots of screenshots on the screen so that you guys can see it. So then you basically, once you have taken your kit, you have to register the kit online and send it off. So I registered my kit on the 19th of January and it arrived at the lab on the 10th of February. So it takes quite a long time to arrive. I think it was actually going to maybe California. So that is kind of far away from where I live. I live in the UK. I'm 24 and I was adopted when I was 10 months old from China. So that's kind of all the background you guys will need for this video. Then once it arrives at the lab, it gets prepped. So your DNA is then extracted from the saliva that you take. So you basically spit loads of saliva in a tube and then your DNA is extracted from that. From the extraction stage, it is then genotyped, which basically means they extract like 600,000 cells, I think, from your DNA or something, which makes up your DNA. So it's all this like really scientific stuff I'm not clued up with, but what I liked about 23andMe was that it basically provides you so much information, you know, every kind of step of the way. They kind of inform you about what's going on, you know, there's the date that it arrives, when it's reviewed, and then it kind of gives you an idea of when you'll eventually get your results. So my results were expected on March the 3rd to March the 17th. Today is actually Sunday the 21st of February, so it's a lot sooner than I thought it was going to be. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to record my screen while I go through this, and then you guys will see firsthand what I'm seeing basically. So yeah, definitely a bit nerve-wracking because I have obviously not ever done anything like this before. I don't know what I'm expecting from the results. So as you can see from my homepage, I have an app, and the app is where it connects everything, and then this is the kind of main page and it's got all of the different things. So we're going to go through the reports left to right. As you can see, there's lots and lots of different reports. So let's do ancestry composition. So it says that I am 100% Chinese and Southeast Asian, which is really interesting. So I was actually adopted from the I can't actually say where I was adopted from, but it kind of like central China, but it's kind of like the south of China. So I could have had like, you know, some like maybe like Vietnamese in me or Chinese dye, but this is really interesting to see that I'm 100% Chinese, which is, yeah, really cool to see. So that's a really good thing. And then next, so parental inheritance. So let's see what this says. Okay, so how much of each ancestry did you inherit from your parents? Okay, so this one I can't actually do because I don't know my parents. So this would actually be something you would do if you knew your parents and they could take a kit as well. But because I don't know my parents, we're going to skip that one. Okay, Neanderthal. Let's see this one. Hey Asia, you have more Neanderthal DNA than 99% of other customers. Neanderthals were prehistoric humans who interbred with modern humans before disappearing around 40,000 years ago. What does this mean? I have 2% Neanderthal DNA, okay? You inherited a small amount of DNA from your Neanderthal ancestors. Out of the 7,462 variants we tested, we found 345 variants in your DNA that trace back to the Neanderthals. Okay, that's quite interesting. Altogether, your Neanderthal ancestry accounts for less than 2% of your DNA. Okay. You have Neanderthal DNA that may influence your traits. This report highlights associations between your Neanderthal variants and your traits, but it does not explore how other factors may be involved, such as your many other DNA variants, your environment, or your lifestyle. You have one variant associated with being less likely to have hitchhiker's thumb. Okay, I don't know what that means, but okay. You have 2 variants associated with being less likely to have a chin dimple. Okay, I don't think I have a chin dimple. Interesting. Okay, so this is just kind of more facts about Neanderthals, so that's pretty interesting. So let's go back to the next one. So this is maternal haplogroup. Probably said that wrong. So this says, you descended from a long line of women that can be traced back to Eastern Africa over 150,000 years ago. These are the women of your maternal line, and your maternal haplogroup shed lights on their story. Asia, your maternal haplogroup is D5A2. As our ancestors ventured out of Eastern Africa, they branched off in diverse groups that crossed and recrossed the globe over tens of thousands of years. Some of their migrations can be traced through haplogroups, families of lineages that descended from a common ancestral. Your maternal haplogroup can reveal the path followed by the women of your maternal line. Okay, so you can see the L is where they started, so in Africa. Then they went to a bit more of Africa, and then a bit more to the east, and then they went to kind of Russia and China, where they then branched out. If every person living today could trace his or her maternal line back over thousands of generations, all of our lines would meet at a single woman who lived in Eastern Africa between 150,000 and 200,000 years ago. Though she was one of perhaps thousands of women alive at the time, only the diverse branches of her haplogroup have survived today. The story of your maternal line begins with her. Okay, so this one says mine is D5, so let's look at D. One of these branches is haplogroup D, which traces back to a woman who likely lived in Central East Asia nearly 40,000 years ago. Since then, her descendants have migrated far and wide across Eurasia. Over 14,000 years ago, women who belonged to the branches D1, D2A, D3 and D4H3 migrated even farther east from Siberia to the Americas. Okay, so this is obviously a lot more information. I'm not going to go into too much because there's quite a lot of stuff. So I am D5A2, so this one here. So this one says your maternal haplogroup D5A2 traces back to a woman who lived approximately 13,500 years ago. That's nearly 540 generations ago. What happened between now and then? As researchers and citizen scientists discover more about your haplogroup, new details may be added to the story of your maternal line. D5A2 is relatively uncommon among 23andMe customers. Interesting. Today you share your haplogroup with all the maternal line descendants of the common ancestor of D5A2, including other 23andMe customers. 1 in 4,900 have this particular group, so that's very, very rare. That's very interesting. Okay, so next one, let's do type 2 diabetes. Do you know what? I think so far I really like this because it's so informed, and yeah, this is just really interesting, especially because I don't have a scientific background, I don't have a medical background. It's very, very interesting to see what I could develop. Okay, so diabetes. So Asia, your genetics are associated with a typical likelihood of developing type 2 diabetes. Okay, so based on data from 23andMe research, participants, people of East Asian descent with genetics like yours have an estimated 29% chance of developing type 2 diabetes at some point between the ages of 24, that's how old I am now, and 80. Okay, so that's really, really interesting to know. Your genetic likelihood falls into the range that is considered typical, but your overall likelihood also depends on factors like weight, diet and exercise. This means it's important to maintain a healthy lifestyle. Okay, so one thing to add about this report is that it's not telling you what you may get for definite. It's just saying that it's in your kind of blood, like it is kind of more common in your kind of like DNA, so just to keep out for things, and it definitely doesn't diagnose any health issues, so just be very careful with that if you are planning on doing it. Like it says here, this report does not diagnose any health conditions or provide medical advice and should not be used to make medical decisions. Consult with a healthcare professional if you are concerned about your likelihood of developing type 2 diabetes, have a personal family history of diabetes, or before making any major lifestyle changes. Okay, so then you can put in like calculations and stuff, but that's not really what we're going to go into right now. It does say at the bottom though, I did kind of click off it quite soon, so it does say at the bottom here, so it's very, very informative. It says things that you can do to kind of keep it at bay if you do have type 2 diabetes, and just kind of like make yourself a bit more healthier. So obviously maintain a healthy weight, get active, eat healthy foods, don't smoke, that kind of thing. And then it kind of talks to you about what is type 2 diabetes. So it's a very, very informative thing, which is very helpful because I don't necessarily know much about diabetes, let alone type 2 diabetes. So this is very, very interesting. Next one, paternal hypercholesterolema group. I'm definitely not gonna be able to say this word. Okay, so this one is obviously to do with your paternal side, but because I don't have a DNA test result from a paternal father or brother, it's very hard for them to diagnose this, which is why they're saying, you know, if you do, please get in touch with them and do a kit. So we're going to move on from that one. So alpha 1, what is this? Okay, so our genetic health risk report tell you how your DNA can affect your chances of developing certain health conditions. Okay, so that's just kind of telling you more about the reports itself, so we will skip that one. Let's have a look. So the next one is, I don't think I'm actually reading this properly. Okay, let's do I don't think I'm reading this properly at all. Right, let's do this one. Okay, so we've already gone through this one. I'm definitely 100% Chinese, so that's fine. Okay, we're gonna do health highlights because okay, let's do this one. Let's see what this one says. Okay, this one is just telling you again more about okay, I get it now. Right, okay. Okay, so celiac disease. So celiac is an autoimmune condition in which the consumption of gluten found in wheat, barley and rye can result in damage to the small intestine. Celiac disease can lead to both digestive and non-digestive problems. This test includes 2 common variants associated with an increased risk of developing this condition. Asia, you do not have the 2 genetic variants we tested. Okay, so that's really interesting because I always thought I might have some sort of celiac problem, mainly because like when I eat loads of like fiber and like wheat and like bread and stuff, my stomach kind of bloats, but I think that's just a normal thing anyway. So that's very interesting to know that I don't actually have that. So let's go back to, let's go back to this one here because I don't think I've done this properly. So, okay, so here. So alpha 1 antitrypsin deficiency. So AAT deficiency is a genetic condition that leads to lung and liver disease. It is caused by decreased levels of the alpha 1 antitrypsin protein. This test includes the 2 most common variants linked to this deficiency. Asia, you do not have these 2 genetic variants. So again, that's really good to know that I don't have any variants for this particular genetic kind of problem. So we'll move on to the next one. So late onset Alzheimer's, what does this say? Okay, so Alzheimer's disease is characterized by memory loss, cognitive decline and personality changes. Late onset Alzheimer's disease is the most common form of Alzheimer's disease developing after age 65. Many factors including genetics can influence a person's chances of developing the condition. This test includes the most common genetic variant associated with late onset Alzheimer's disease. Okay, so Asia, you have 1 copy of the E4 variant we tested. People with this variant have a slightly increased risk of developing late onset Alzheimer's disease. Lifestyle, environment, and other factors can affect your risk. Okay, so 1 variant is, you know, not bad. It definitely means that I could get it in the future. It doesn't mean I'll definitely get it, but it's just something to look out for. Again, obviously they're not telling you kind of you are gonna get it or you're not gonna get it. It's kind of just a possibility. So let's read more about this. So they have detected one copy of the E4 variant in the APOE gene. Although your risk may be slightly increased, most people with this variant do not develop late onset Alzheimer's disease. Okay, studies estimate that on average a female of European descent with this variant has a 5 to 7% chance of developing late onset Alzheimer's disease by age 75 and a 20 to 30% chance by 85. There is not enough data to estimate the chances in females of other ethnicities. Okay, so I mean, I'm happy with that. I know that it's quite a low chance. Obviously there's always a possibility, but you know, you can never be too sure. So we will go to chronic kidney disease. So like I said, I paid extra for the health one, so I'm not sure this is included in the normal one. I think maybe it is more kind of just a overall view, whereas this is an in-depth medical one. So chronic kidney disease. Chronic kidney disease is a condition in which the kidneys stop working properly over time. Because the kidneys serve as filters for our blood, chronic kidney disease can cause excess fluid and waste from the blood to build up in the body. This can lead to health problems including bone damage, heart disease and stroke. This test includes 2 variants in the APOL1 gene that can increase the risk of developing chronic kidney disease. These variants are most common in people of African descent. Asia, you do not have the 2 genetic variants we tested. However, most cases of chronic kidney disease are not caused by the variants included in this test. Your risk for chronic kidney disease also depends on other factors like lifestyle, family history and genetic variants not covered by this test. So obviously they're saying that although you don't have the genetics in there, just still be careful because it might be from family history, lifestyle, obviously genetic variants that they don't test for. So there is always a possibility. Okay, so the next one is, if I can say this properly, Familial Hypercholesterolema. I don't think I said that bad. It is a genetic condition associated with very high levels of cholesterol in your blood, specifically low density, lipoprotein or bad cholesterol. High cholesterol due to FH increases the risk for early cardiovascular disease, which can lead to a heart attack. This includes 24 genetic variants linked to FH. Asia, you do not have the genetic variants we tested. However, this does not include the majority of variants linked to FH, and you could still have a variant not included in this test. Again, it's good to see that the variants they tested for I don't have, but obviously there is a possibility that I do have other variants. Okay, wow, these are big names to try and pronounce. Okay, so the next one is Hereditary Homochromotosis. I think I did that quite right. Okay, so Hereditary Homochromotosis is a genetic condition characterized by absorption of too much dietary iron. This may lead to iron overload, which can cause damage to the joints and certain organs such as liver, skin, heart and pancreas. This test includes the 2 most common variants linked to this condition. Asia, you did not have the 2 genetic variants we tested. Based on your genetic result, you're not likely at risk of developing iron overload related to hereditary homochromotosis. However, you could still have a variant not covered by this test. Okay, next one, let's do Parkinson's disease. So, Parkinson's disease. Parkinson's disease is characterized by tremor, muscle stiffness and problems with movement. Many factors, including genetics, can influence a person's chances of developing Parkinson's disease. This test includes 2 genetic variants associated with increased risk of developing the condition. Asia, you do not have the 2 genetic variants we tested. Your risk for Parkinson's disease also depends on other factors, including environment and genetic variants not covered by this test. Okay, let's do hereditary amyloidosis. TTR-related hereditary amyloidosis is a genetic condition caused by the buildup of a protein called TTR in the body's tissue and organs. This protein buildup, called amyloidosis, can damage the nerves, the heart and other parts of the body. This test includes 3 of the most common genetic variants linked to TTR-related hereditary amyloidosis. You do not have the 3 genetic variants we tested. you could still have a variant not covered by this test. Okay, so the last health report we've got is Hereditary Thromophilia. Is that how you say it? Hereditary Thromophilia is a predisposition to developing harmful blood clots. These harmful blood clots most commonly formed in the legs and can travel to the lungs. This test includes the 2 most common variants linked to hereditary thromophilia. You do not have the 2 genetic variants we tested. Okay, so that's very, very interesting. Okay, so what you can do now is if you go to all Ancestry Reports, which is probably what I should have done in the in the first time, because okay, so this is interesting. So Neanderthal we've already done. We already know that I have a lot of Neanderthal in me, so that's quite interesting. We already know maternal, paternal, we can't see. Ancestry composition, we're going to look at this one. So this is what I wanted to see actually, it's very interesting. So I have 100% East Asian, 100% Asia, we know that for sure. 99.7% Chinese and Southeast Asia, mainly Guangdong, mainland China. So if we click on this, I believe it will tell us more. So here we go. So we've got Guangdong, Fujian, Shandong, Jiangding. Okay, so that's very interesting. Okay, so that's really, really interesting to see, because obviously like it all makes up, like the DNA all comes from like different parts and it makes up one DNA, so that's very interesting. And then, okay, so we are now going to look at the health reports, because some of them we've missed. So this one is the age-related macular degeneration. So age-related macular degeneration is the most common cause of irreversible vision loss, okay, among older adults. The disease results in damage to the central part of the retina, impairing vision needed for reading, driving, or even recognizing faces. The test includes the 2 most common variants associated with an increased risk of developing the condition. Asia, you have 2 copies of the genetic variant we tested. Okay, this makes sense because I wear glasses and I'm kind of blind as a bat, so that definitely makes sense. But it's good to be clarified, I guess. Okay, so the next one we've already done on Alzheimer's. We've already done, I think we've already done alpha 1. Let's just double check. Yeah, okay, so alpha 1 Attribution deficiency is genetic condition that can lead to lung and liver disease. It is caused by decreased levels of alpha 1 protein. This test includes 2 most common variants linked to this deficiency. I do not have the 2 genetic variants we tested. Okay, so that is good to see. Next one, BRCA and BRCA2. Okay, this let me see if that's, yeah, I don't know why, but sometimes it goes through all of the stuff. So okay, that's just telling you stuff. Okay, so you see here it has like lots of other things where it tells you, so it basically gives you a tutorial before it actually gives you the result. I'm not too sure why it does this, but I think what I'm going to do is I think I'm going to do kind of like a second video on like the health report, because obviously like this video is going to be so long otherwise. So we're going to go through the wellness ones and we'll come back to the health ones and go through that one. So alcohol flush reaction, likely to flush, which is really obvious because I'm Asian and alcohol doesn't go well with me. So yeah, that's so like correct. Caffeine consumption, likely to consume less. Again, that's correct. I drink decaf tea. I don't drink coffee. I drink kind of like Diet Coke and stuff very rarely. So that I'd say that's very correct. Deep sleep, less likely to be a deep sleeper. Again, that's pretty correct. I can be a deep sleeper when I'm in a very, very deep sleep. If I'm not, I can wake up at anything, like literally the drop of a pin and I'll wake up. Genetic weight, predisposed to weigh about average. That's again correct. I probably weigh about average for my age. Lactose intolerant, likely intolerant. I'd probably say that's quite correct. I try not to have lots of like milk and stuff. I do have tea on like regularly, like every day. Muscle composition, common in elite power athletes. Okay, so that's an interesting one. I mean, I definitely stay like the same kind of like size. I don't really go up and down. But yeah, that's kind of like quite good. Saturated fat and weight, likely similar weight. What does this mean? Let's have a look. Asia, your weight is likely to be similar on diets high or low in saturated fat with the same number of total calories. People with your genetics result tend to have a similar BMI on diets with greater or less than 22 grams of saturated fat per day, as long as they consume the same number of total calories. Okay, yeah, that's I'd say that's correct, because I pretty much eat the same amount every day. I eat the same things every week and stuff, so that never really changes. So let's go back to this one. Okay, so the next one is sleep movement, likely average or less movement. Yeah, I'd say that's correct. I mean, I normally sleep on my side and I don't tend to move from my side. I kind of toss and turn a bit, but not a lot. Okay, so traits, ability to match musical pitch, about a 50-50% chance of being able to match a musical pitch. I'd say that's correct. I'm not like the greatest singer, but I'm not like the most like awful singer in the world. Asparagus odor detection, likely can smell. Yeah, I'd say that's correct. I have a very strong sense of smell. So yeah, that's definitely correct. Bitter taste, likely can't taste, which is actually really interesting because normally with bitter things I can taste them straight away. So I find that quite interesting. Bunions, less likely than average to have had a bunion. Yeah, I've not had a bunion yet, so that would be correct for now. Cheek dimples, likely no dimples. I mean, I have a little bit of a dimple, but yeah, not massive dimples. Cilantro taste aversion, slightly higher odds of disliking cilantro. I think cilantro is like, what's the equivalent of cilantro here in the UK? Parsley, I think? No, I may be completely wrong, but okay, that I don't know if that makes sense or not, because I like most herbs, so. Cleft chin, likely no cleft chin. Dandruff, more likely to get dandruff, that is correct. Earlobe type, likely detached earlobes. I don't actually know what that means, but okay. Let's see what that means. If it's gonna load. No. Okay, it doesn't want to load. Earwax. Oh, there we go. So, okay, the combination of genetic stuff and matches makes you have detached earlobes. Ah, interesting. Okay, so 83% of people have detached earlobes and 17% of people have attached earlobes. So that's interesting. Okay, so next one is earwax type, likely dry earwax, correct. Eye colour, likely brown or hazel eyes. So I'd say my eyes are very dark brown. Like in the light you can kind of see they're brown. So yeah, correct. Fear of heights, more likely than average to be afraid of heights. This is true. I actually don't like heights. Unless I'm in like a plane or something really secure, it really freaks me out and my anxiety starts to set in. Fear of public speaking, more likely to have a fear of public speaking. Again, this is very correct. Although I'm very good at public speaking, actually trying to do it and getting the courage to do it is very stressful. Finger length ratio, likely ring finger longer. Okay, so I don't think that's correct because this is my ring finger here and it's not longer. So interesting. Flat feet, more likely than average to have flat feet. So what does this say? Let's see. Asia, based on your genetics and other factors, you're more likely than average to have flat feet. Flat feet are characterized by a low arch on the inside of the foot. Sometimes people with flat feet roll their feet inward when walking, called over pronation. Having flat feet may also be associated with the misalignment of certain bones in the feet or legs, which can cause pain. Okay, interesting. Okay, so the next one is freckles, likely little freckling. That's correct. I don't have any freckles. Hair photo bleaching. I've had a 50% of experience hair photo bleaching. I've never heard of this before. So, Asia, based on your genetics and other factors, you have about an equal chances of your hair lightening or not lightening with sun exposure. So my hair doesn't really change in the sun. So yeah, that makes sense. Okay, so where are we on now? Hair texture, likely straight or wavy. So my hair is naturally straight, it'll just dry straight, so that's correct. Hair thickness, more likely to have thick hair, correct. Ice cream flavor preference, more likely to prefer vanilla over chocolate. This is 100% correct. I love vanilla ice cream. Light or dark hair, likely dark, correct. Misphonia, more likely to hate chewing sounds. I'd say this is kind of true. Like, I think it's just more of a manners thing. Like, I think when you can hear people chewing, I don't think it's good manners. But yeah, that's kind of just, I guess, kind of the way I've been raised. Mosquito bite frequency, likely bitten more often than others. This is true. I get bitten a lot when I'm on, like, you know, in like a tropical place. Motion sickness, more likely to experience motion sickness. Yeah, this is true. I get really sick in cars sometimes, and especially on boats and stuff. Newborn hair, likely little baby hair. This is true. So I'll put a picture here of when I was a baby. My hair was so short and I looked like a boy. So this is very true. Photic sneeze reflex, likely no photic sneeze reflex. What does this mean? I have no idea. Acute, it could be a case of crossed wires in the brain for some people. Bright sunlight kicks off a round of sneezing. Okay, so brightness can make people sneeze. No, I don't have that. I think my mum might have that. My adopted mum might have that because she sneezes a lot. Right, where are we next? Okay, so red hair, likely no red hair. This is true. Skin pigmentation, likely lighter skin, correct. Stretch marks, more likely to have stretch marks. This is true. I do have stretch marks, but again, I think most people do. Sweet versus salty, likely prefers salty. This is 100% true. Like, I put salt on all my dinners. Even if they have salt on them anyway, I will put salt on them. Toe length ratio, likely big toe longer. I mean, I'm not going to show you my toes, but okay. Unibrow, likely at least to have a little unibrow. So, I mean, I don't have many eyebrows anyway, but sometimes a bit of hair grows here, but not a lot. Wake up time, likely to wake up around 8:53 a.m. So yeah, on my days off I normally wake up around 9-10, so I guess that is kind of right. And then on when I'm working, obviously I wake up earlier. Widow's peak, likely no widow's peak. So let's see what this says. Okay, so pointed hairlines originally earned the name widow's peak because they resemble the shape of a hat of Victorian women wore in mourning. Okay, so I don't have a widow's peak, so that is interesting. Okay, so we've gone through the health. Okay, so we've gone through all the health reports, and we've gone through, well, not all the health reports. We'll do a part 2 on that one because there's so much there. We've gone through all the ancestry reports, so let's do physical features. I think we've just, oh yeah, we've just done that, so that's interesting. Wellness, we've done. Health highlights, we've done. Okay, so let's try and complete these tasks. I don't know what this means. Okay, so I'm going to do this another time because I've not done this. So I'll do this in the next video, we'll do that. Okay, so now we're going to look at DNA relatives. So I'm very interested to see this. I'm going to blur out the people's names because obviously I don't want to kind of like put their names on there. Would you like to display your ancestry results? Yeah, okay, so let's do that. I've got a photo, where do you call, okay, so let's do London. Where were your ancestors born? Where was your mother born? I don't know. Birthplace, no, don't know. Share link to your family tree, I don't know. I'm gonna put, hey, I'm Asia. I was adopted from China. Oh my gosh. Specifically Oh my gosh, I cannot spell. Right, let me fill. Okay, so I'm going to fill this out. So it says, hey, I'm Asia. I was adopted from China, specifically. Why is it doing this? Ah, there we go. I'm going to take all of that out. Specifically the Zhejiang province, when I was 10 months old in 1997. I now live, I have lived in the UK for since, and currently live in London. I think that's what I'm going to put for now. So I'm going to do participate to find relatives and see what it comes up with. This is the bit I was most nervous with, I think, because you don't actually know what it's going to bring up, and I think you only find people on here who have actually kind of like taken the test from this website, because you can obviously find relatives on other websites for DNA tests, but you can only find people on this website who have actually like taken this test on this website. Okay, so I'm going to blur out people's names because obviously I don't want to, like, you know, say anything about their names, but this is very interesting. So I have a third to fourth cousin, a third to fourth cousin, a third to fourth cousin, and the highest one is a 62% DNA shared. So that's really, really close, I think. 0.6, obviously it's not like as close as can be, but it's still very interesting. And then I have a 43%, 43%, 40%, 39%, 37%, 37%. Wow, I mean, 1,101 distant relatives. I mean, this is like the most I've had of like family relatives in all my life, because I've never known anyone who is my relative. So so what you can do on this is you can actually reach out to them and send them a message. So obviously I'm going to do that and see if they want to talk, but I just think it's so interesting. Okay, so this is how, for a third cousin, so obviously me and my parent and my sibling, so it's my great-grandparents' third cousin, great-grandparents' cousin or something. That's how we kind of connect. Okay, so this is really interesting. So yeah, you can message them and it kind of tells you when they were last active. So obviously I have heard that the things on here aren't very well in terms of like messages, like you don't get notifications sometimes. Okay, so yeah, like I said, this kind of just shows kind of like distant cousins and stuff. I've heard the messaging system is not great on here, so it just depends if people like answer you or not. So I'm definitely going to contact some people and see what happens. So obviously I'll keep you guys up to date. I think I'm going to leave this video here because it's long enough as it is and my camera is not coping, it keeps closing. So I'm going to leave this video here. I hope you liked it. It was very, very interesting for me and very exciting. So I'm definitely going to do a part 2 on the health one because it is a bit more complicated and there's a lot more things to go through and things like that. But yeah, I will leave this video here. If you have any questions, please leave them down below. Very happy to answer them. And I will see you in the next video. Bye.